So, you just bought a property and you're asking yourself, what is the critical question that you need to be asking yourself?
Should I get a management company, or is it better off to manage it myself? Let's hear in the comment section, what do you think?
Hi there. New week, new problems, new opportunities.
Goes without saying, every week that is our saying. So today we got a special edition. So as a property investor, this is one of the questions that you actually ask yourself before you buy the property itself. Are you going to manage it yourself, or are you going to get a management company?
I mean, this depends solely on your schedule. So now, if you do actually have time to be actually going around to the properties, if you do have enough property to actually go out and actually be looking at them, then maybe a management company isn't something that you should be looking at. However, you do also need the experience in terms of how to vet your clients, in terms of, are those the right people to be living in that property. You also need to know people in terms of who would be able to help you to fix problems if they do occur.
As I mean, let's look at it from this point of view. You've got 6,000 units already. You can't be making sure that all 6,000 tenants are happy. So at the end of the day, it actually goes up to you looking at your strategy and what works out for you. However, at the same time, when you are working and your work is quite strenuous, you can't afford to have a proper management company, because think about it. I remember last time, and I'm also hoping that when we are in Cape Town, nobody will be calling like, hey guys, the lights are not working, only to find out that we need to get back to Joburg, and then only to find out that it was a globe. So
However, if that does actually happen, we do have people in place to actually help us in terms of if something does actually happen wrong,
yeah.
we do have people to help us.
And another thing is that, guys, cheap is not always cheap. So
Cheap might be expensive.
cheap's very expensive.
What do you mean by that?
Because I mean, at the end of the day, let's look at this scenario that we find ourselves in, getting a geyser. We saw that there was a geyser for about 3.5 thousand, and then there was another place whereby they were selling a geyser for 1.5 or 2,000. So now it's up to you as the property investor. Do you go for the cheaper one at that point in time, and then after 2 months again most probably buy another one? However, at the same time, we're not saying that you should be buying top of the range every time, and then only to find yourself that now you're losing the side of the business when it comes to the property investing. So always be conscious about your spendings, because they do affect your total investment. Your total investment does affect your return on investment.
So let's see how it goes. Yeah, so earlier on, we actually did speak about, do you actually want a management company or not, right? So now we are just about to tell you about our situation in terms of what's actually going on right now. Man, we have a lot on our plate, right? The first one is that we have Cape Town that's actually coming through. Make sure you have actually RSVP'd if you haven't actually RSVP'd. And the second one
is the 30-day challenge, and hope that you guys are getting so much information. Like, we're quite excited about Saturday. Whether you're on Facebook or Instagram, we will be there with you, talking about the practicality of property investing. Ask us any questions and we will have an answer for it.
And then the last one, I wanted to actually speak about mentors, right? So now when you do have a mentor, you need to realize that the mentor will give you advice based on where they are right now in life, right? So now say for instance, if I'm actually going to be telling someone what to do, should they actually flip or should they actually rent out? So when choosing a mentor, make sure that they do actually listen to you and understand where you are right now. So now most of the time, I'm sure you have actually seen with our content, we don't speak money, no money down. And we also didn't actually speak about flip. So now what we're doing right now, which brings me to the third element, is that we are actually about to sell one of our properties. So now the main thing that needs to happen is that we need to actually fix the property before we sell the property, because it was actually a distressed property. So we held it for 1 year. We had a person that was actually renting it out for that year, and now we're actually about to sell it because it actually did actually increase in value. You know what that means.
I mean, I'm looking at this from two angles. The first angle is that your exit strategy. When things go sideways or when things go opposite and then you're not anticipating that, what is your exit strategy? As much as we don't like speaking about plan B, but it's a must that you have a plan B when it comes to property. What Kleb mentioned about mentors is very important, that you should actually question what your mentor is telling you, because even with time, something can make sense for them because they have the time or they don't have the time, only to find out that, let's just say you have the time, and then you only went into a strategy whereby you could have used your time to your best ability. So there is no one shoe fits all when it comes to property. you take the strategy, you look at your credit, you look at the cash, you look at your time, and also you look at your financial goals. Where would you like to see yourself in, let's just say, the next 2 years?
So our clients will actually tell you that we don't play around. Man, when I'm running my numbers, I make sure that I'm actually taking out a certain percentage that I'm actually putting on the side for maintenance. So that if anything does actually happen to the property or anything does actually break within the property, I'm not left stranded in terms of how am I actually going to get money to fix this mess that I'm in.
I mean, with maintenance, the maintenance cost, it's one of those things whereby you're separating the business from yourself so that you have funds whereby if you might need an emergency happens, you know where to look at, because once you start tapping into your finances, that's when it becomes difficult to track if this business is actually going forward or not. So doing that in terms of having a maintenance budget, that helps you to track how well the property is actually working.
The last point is Cape Town. So looking at Cape Town, man, this is really exciting. I think this is one of the things that I was actually telling the team and Neo that once we pull off Cape Town,
When we pull off Cape Town,
you have no excuse of why aren't you actually being great, because we don't know anybody from Cape Town. We have never been to Cape Town. I don't know how Cape Town actually looks in person. I only know it from pictures, right? So now me actually going there and actually hosting an event as non-wealth, what's your excuse?
even funding and finances, we still need to dig in. We still make to make sure that it does happen. So you do not have any excuse, man. Invest like a pro, but now wealth.